Welcome to the definitive Soul Reaper Shikai weapon tier list. In this video, we're going to go through every single weapon in the game for Soul Reapers, the ones that are obtainable from Clan Wars and AFK Worlds, and all the rollable ones. If you haven't already, check the description below for my tier list playlist, and you can see all the other ones I've done. I plan on making a weapon video for every single race. This one just happens to be the Soul Reapers. Alright, starting off with Razor's Edge. This one is a Clan War exclusive, and it's also drops from the AFK World. I may be wrong on that, but it is the Berserk Shikai one. It is very good. It's got decent M1s. Its crit is pretty spammable, but they have nerfed it. They nerfed the ragdoll, and they also increased the cooldown between the crits, I think, so you can't really spam it as much. But it still is a pretty solid crit, because if you land it, you slam into the floor, and if you have better ping than them, most of the time you can get off a move, but it's not true anymore. Like, day one, it was true. It was kind of stupid. Any move you could do, like Razor's Edge crit into Rising Swallow. You still can do that now. If you have better ping and they miss the parry or block, you'll get them, and it's still pretty solid, especially with this crit turning into a projectile. But unfortunately, it does not have a Bankai special crit or M1. It doesn't change. I'm probably going to put it either high B or A tier, because its nerfs kind of made it pretty bad. That I could argue you could use Scythe over this Razor's Edge on Berserk, which is what I personally ran, and I thought it was pretty good. Alright, 7th Thunder. This one is the Lightning Shikai locked one, and it has really fast M1s. Its crit has a pretty big stun that you can almost do any move after it, especially your Shikai moves. You can do crit into the C move, or crit into the Z move, crit into the X move. It's pretty insane. It really needs to be nerfed. I think they might have reduced the stun, but it still is almost basically true to any move. So I'm probably going to put this high S tier probably. But unfortunately, it is locked to Lightning. Alright, Unstable. This is the brand new Hakuda Universal Weapon, and for Soul Reapers, it's pretty good, but I could argue that it has one of the... I think it's one of the worst ones compared to the other ones. Like the Rankar one, even though it got nerfed to only give one soul style, it still has like hyper armor, and you could steal Hakuda combos with it. Like this one, not so much. You do have a fast crit forward, which I guess, yeah, you can do, but I don't think you can combo extend off this. You might be able to Tora reach if you're lucky, but I'm pretty sure they'll just flash step away or just get out of the way somehow, because it's not like a very long ragdoll, as you can see here. Probably gonna put this one... I might have to put it A tier. Even though it's not like the best Hakuda Universal one, it is miles ahead of the normal gauntlets that you have. So, I could say you could use this. I'm gonna put this... I'm gonna keep it high B for now, but we'll see. I might adjust it later when I go over the other Hakuda styles for Soul Reaper. Alright, Siphon's Wretch. This one is the mythical weapon, and it drops from Clan Wars, like all the other ones here in the unobtainable, or exclusive, sorry. But this one, the M1 speed has been nerfed, so it's not as fast as shown here. And its crit, it does... I think it doesn't guard break. I think it's blockable, but I may be wrong. Its M1s were nerfed. It's got a pretty good crit though, so I'm probably going to put this A tier, because this will help you, especially now that Black Flash is universal, if you didn't know that. You could be a medic, and even though the M1s were nerfed, it's still pretty fast, and it's pretty wide range. You have a pretty big area here for your hitbox. So I'm going to put this probably A tier. Medics can be really annoying with this weapon. And it has the upside of actually healing your teammates if you hit somebody. In Bankai, I don't know if it's shown here. Yeah, no, they don't show the Bankai, but in Bankai, I'm pretty sure you get a bigger crit or a faster crit, and it'll heal slightly more, if I'm mistaken. Correct me below. Alright, Murasama. This was the 60 candle weapon, but all universal weapons have been changed to be locked to 50 in a skill tree, so it is only 50 candles to use this weapon. Its M1s are pretty slow, pretty easy to parry, and its crits are pretty decent, but the flash step one has been nerfed to 1 second, making it effectively useless to use the forward crit, because you will not be able to use a single move or even get close to them before they can just flash step again, so never use the forward crit on this one. Neutral crit, I think all the other crits are 3 seconds, is still pretty good, especially if you Mortal Tie. And then the back crit gives you 10% damage buff against them and a 10% defense buff for you because they do 10% less damage to you. In Bankai, it'll do all the crits stacked in one. It's a wider slash, and it's pretty good. I think it's 3 seconds. They might have nerfed it, but I really can't recommend this weapon, especially as a Soul Reaper Kendo main. You should just be using Longsword or Dagger, like I recently used in my most recent video. Because it's not as good as anymore. You're having slow M1s, a crit that doesn't guard break. You're better off using Longsword or Dagger. I'm gonna put this one probably B tier. I mean, maybe you can make it work, but its crits are nothing too special anymore. They should honestly just remove it and make it what's it called? Like a slower crit, but a guard break ranged one. I think would be a cooler one. But I'm gonna put this. Honestly, I'll put it above unstable, just because it's red move. I think it's still 3 seconds. You disable their moveset. They can only use their Shikai or their Shrift or their partial. So I'm gonna put it high beef just for that. But it really isn't all too special anymore. All right, Abject. This is the Soul Reaper Keto one, and it requires 50 Keto like all universals. And it has pretty good M1s. Its critical does put some abilities on global cooldown. Because before, on day one, you used to be able to do a bunch of true combos off it, and it was kind of silly. Like, you could do high in and then pull them in. So, that no longer is the case. It's still pretty good, because it is, it's a big AoE, and most people won't parry it. I think it's a pretty easy one to parry, but still pretty solid overall. Unfortunately, it doesn't have any Bankai change. It's still the same. I'm gonna put this one... Honestly, I'll put it A tier. Should I put above Siphon's Wretch? I think I'm gonna put above Siphon's Wretch. With, even though SR Keto isn't too good, if you run Shadows with it, it can be pretty solid. You can do some almost true combos where you do Abject into the, I think, Shadow Tendrils, into Tepusatsu, into Geki Reku, or whatever moves you want. And it's not almost true, but it's pretty hard to get out of. Alright, Yamato. This is the 50 speed weapon, universal weapon. And it is, in my opinion, the best one, especially after they nerfed the Quincy one. They made it so, or before, you used to not be able to parry it, or if you did parry it, you'd have to hold parry and parry the whole thing. But now, on the first parry of the Quincy one, it'll just cancel the move entirely, which is a big nerf to them. So, Soul Reapers have the best Yamato right now, because they got fast M1s like all Yamatos do, and they also have this huge critical that does give 2 style points. And also in Bankai, it's empowered to do this thing. I didn't even know it disabled flash step. That might not be true anymore. I don't remember that. But it has more damage in Bankai, which is a big bonus. So I'm honestly going to put this high A tier, even S tier. Honestly, I'm going to put S tier. It is still the best Yamato or speed weapon for Soul Reapers. Alright, fighting styles. These ones are for Hakuda. Just like the Unstable, you have to have Hakuda to use these ones. Formless. This one used to be really good. Like, people used to think it was pretty good, but I think they nerfed a lot of the crits. Like, this one used to be able to do true into any move. And then, this standing still one is a iframe move, which is still pretty good. This S1, you can almost spam it. It's like unpunishable, like big AoE, and it guard breaks and throws them away. Unfortunately, you can't combo extend off that. So, I'm probably gonna put this... I put B tier? Low B tier or maybe even C tier. Honestly, I'm gonna put it C tier. Formless isn't all that. There's way better ones you should be using. Like Taekwondo, for example. This one, M1s, you can't feint it, but they are pretty fast, and its critical is very annoying to fight against, because once you get hit by the first kick, all the rest of the follow-up kicks are true, and it guard breaks in the ground and in the air. It's a perfect combo extend. So I'm gonna put this one easily, honestly, S tier. It's the best Hakuda one that you should be using, because I don't think Unstable's too good. Yeah, Unstable's B tier for sure. Alright, on to the rollable ones. Our first mythic, our first and only mythic actually, Odachi. This one has pretty big M1s, pretty decent speed, and its crit, you can spam it multiple times. You can spam it 3 times, and on the third one, it'll do an impale that guard breaks and gives you hyper armor, which is pretty good. But unfortunately, I don't think that this is a good one, even though its Bankai is kind of crazy, where you do it 3 times, and then on the third one, you almost like Fast Fang through them. Yeah, see, Fast Fang like that. I don't think it's all too good. It used to be really good with Kyoka, but the Kyoka clone has been nerfed, because you could spam your crits with your clone as well, and it would do pretty good posture damage, and most of the time guard break them. But I don't think it's that good anymore. I'm gonna put it B tier probably. It's not formless level, it's still viable, but I just think the other faster crits like Longsword or Dagger, where you guard break, are a lot better than having multiple crits, because most people can parry these now. So, yeah. On to the first legendary. My personal favorite right now, Dagger. Fast M1s, it's crit. It has been changed, so watch my most recent Clan War video and ranked video, but you can do double crits. So on the first crit, you'll go forward a pretty significant different distance, and on the second one, you do the same thing, but you're able to turn your crit. So if you miss your first crit, you can just turn with your second crit and hit them. And also there's, I don't know if it's a glitch or an intended feature. I'm gonna say it's an intended feature. You can use a move during the crit and almost move stack. It's kind of silly. It does need to be nerfed in my opinion. The Bankai crit is also pretty good because it's a big AoE, and you're able to do basically any move you want after. Like, you could do this into Rising Swallow, which is what I recommend, or you could Mortal Ties them so they can't run away. Especially on ice, it's very deadly. S tier for sure. Honestly, I'm gonna put it above 7th Thunder. I think it's very underrated. If more people started using it, they'd see it's a really good one. It's one of the fastest crits in the game, and I think it's almost unpunishable. Even if they parry it, most of the time your momentum will carry you through, or like you'll go past them, so they can't really combo you if they parry it. Alright, Longsword. This is my second favorite weapon for Soul Reapers now that Murasama has been nerfed, because I used to run Murasama, but now I run this one. It's got fast M1s, big range, a crit that is, most people won't parry, and its Bankai crit is amazing. It has hyper armor, and you do a lot of damage. So, easily, honestly, I'm gonna put it S tier, but I don't think it's as good as 7th Thunder, because 7th Thunder you can do true combos, which is, I think, silly. Longsword's definitely up there. I might put it below Yamato. I'm gonna keep it on par with Yamato right now in S though. Alright. Scythe. This one. Really stupid. Its crit has been changed. It's not this one anymore. But you drag the opponent with you. And it's really good with Berserk. I made a video on that. It's really fun to use. Got decent M1s, and its crit is stupid big, and it has a very low cooldown in my opinion. So, like, you can just spam your crit. Bankai crit as well. It's like Dagger crit almost, where it's true into basically any move. Like, you can do this into Rising Swallow or into Mortal Ties, and then they're just stuck with you while you're in Bankai, unable to run. So this one's definitely going S tier because of that. I will be putting it below Longsword. I think Longsword's just more faster paced in my playstyle, but Scythe is equally as good. Here we go. Scythe is still very good. Alright, Paintbrush. This one is linked or locked to the Ink Shikai. If you roll Ink Shikai, you have this as your weapon. So it's pretty good. Got a very good crit. Fast M1s. Pretty decent. I'm gonna put it A tier. It's not on par with any of these other ones, unfortunately, but it's still a pretty solid one. Alright, Flower. This one, again, like Ink, is locked to your Flower. You'll just always have this weapon. It's got fast M1s, big range, and a decent crit. So I'm also going to put this A tier. I think Flower is pretty underrated as a Shikai and weapon on its own. So might be put it below Abject. We'll see. I'll just leave it there for now. It's still a very viable one though. Alright, this one again, like the other two, is locked to Shinso. If you roll Shinso, you're going to have this weapon. Fast M1s and a crit that is pretty spammable. I think only the first thrust guard breaks and the rest do decent posture, but they won't guard break, so you do have to hit the first one. It's got decent range as well. And in Bankai, it's empowered to do a little bit. And there's a special one you can do this. I don't know if it ragdolls. No, it doesn't. It's just a big AoE one. I think this one's definitely... Honestly, I'm going to say A tier. I'm going to put above Paintbrush and Ink. Because on Shinso, there's a certain move, I think it's the X move, but where you do a blue slash in front of you, you get empowered M1s and your M1s go stupid fast. It's like on par with, if you know Zweiss in Balance Volt, you get like really fast M1s, it's like on par with that or better. So I'm going to put that A tier. It could be even pushing S tier, but I have to play it more to find out. On to our first common, Dual Swords. This one has surprisingly fast M1s. I think it is actually the fastest M1s in the game. I might be wrong though, but it's very underrated. You've got a moving crit, which is movable. You can aim it. And the Bankai crit, not too special, but it's definitely an A tier one in my opinion. It's up here with above Abject for sure. Very underrated common. Greatsword. This one's really good with Berserk, but I personally don't like it because your M1s are very predictable and slow. Even though the first one has hyper armor, I just don't like using it, but it's crit you can combo extend off of, especially with Fire Shikai. You can do the slashes in front of you into this crit, and it's not true, but very hard to get out of. But its Bankai crit is really bad. Like, look at this. You most of the time will not hit this because like you expect someone in front of you to be hit, but you'll just go past them. So I'm gonna put this one low B tier, high B tier actually. I'm gonna put it above Odachi. Or not high B tier, but middle of B tier. It's pretty good, but I just don't like it. Too slow for me. Hammer. This one, like Greatsword, has hyper armor on the first M1, but pretty slow M1s. Its crit is okay because you throw them back, but I don't think you can combo extend off it. It doesn't have enough ragdoll to be a true combo, but you can combo extend. It's not true at least, so you'll have to like throw out a guard break move and hope they block and miss the parry. And it's Bankai crit. Not bad. Ragdolls. I think you can do a move after. This is like a Scythe crit, where you're able to do a move after it, so... I'm gonna put Hammer. Same tier as Greatsword. Still B, it's alright. If you run Confusion, it's actually kind of funny, because if you do your counter where you teleport to next to them, you can just throw out a Hammer M1, and because it's hyper armored, you can't really be punished for it. Alright, Katana. This one is definitely an S tier one in my opinion. It's very comp. It's crit pretty fast, and its Bankai crit is alright, I think. But also in Bankai, your M1s, you'll have like a little shadow figure that helps what's it called, stun them a little longer, so you can do some pretty crazy combos with it. This is really good with blood. If you have blood, you should be using this because it gives you more stun during your M1s, so they basically can't get out of your blood arts. I'm gonna put this S tier. Low S tier, because I think you should be using these other ones. But if you roll Katana, you should be happy with it. Or if you roll Dual Swords, you should be happy with it. Alright. Spear. This one, even it got reworked. It has hyper armor. It's pretty good. It's aimable as well. And its Bankai crit isn't too special. But I just personally don't like it. I mean, it's alright. It used to be really good. Or it actually is pretty good with water, SR Kido. Because you can throw the X move out or something out, and then you just go in with this and you apply a good amount of pressure. But sometimes, especially when I was using it, it would glitch and you just stand still doing your crit, which is very bad in my opinion. If you have to rely on luck for your crit to work, I don't think you should be using it. So for that reason, I'm going to put it like C tier. But if it didn't glitch every time, I'd say it could be pushing high B, maybe even A tier. I like its crit. Alright, Twin Blade. This one is good. Or not actually not good. It's actually C tier for sure. Just because of its crit alone. Or its crit's alright, but Greatsword has a... Not Greatsword, sorry. Dual Swords has a better crit. And its Bankai crit, you go into a counter, which I don't think you want to be in a counter in your Bankai state. You want to be offensive and just on top of them. So I'm going to put this, honestly, D tier. But if you are cheesing your Bankai, you could roll Twin Blade, and then in its crit, it'll give you time to throw out a move. And then you can just run away because it'll be stuck on the floor. So you have more breathing time, more time for your cooldowns, time to heal if you have regen variant on your Wizard. So you should run that. Alright, Gauntlets. These ones honestly aren't too special. Because they're the only ones you have by default, I'm going to put it like probably C tier. You should run Formless over it, but you should try to aim for Taekwondo or Unstable, I think. Alright, so I think that's where I'm going to end it. If you have any changes you'd want below, let me know. Like, I'm always open to running off meta. Like, I love running some common weapons, so make sure to like, subscribe, and see you in the next one.